In this episode, I have a special guest joining me today, my oldest, Easton Nichols, and today we are going to dive into what 2020 was like for him, how he's cultivated and grown over the last year, and really his perspective on all things optimism and being the oldest of 5 in a family of boys and what that's like. So excited to have him and share all the good little gold nuggets he'll have to say. Welcome to the podcast with Kilee Nichols. I made the unlikely transition from stay-at-home mom to CEO of a multi-million-dollar leading fashion brand. At Nickel & Suede, we empower the everyday woman to step into her story more boldly, one life-changing accessory at a time. The goal of this podcast is to inspire you through both my story and the stories of other powerhouse women to take that first step towards living the best version of your life. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and get ready to get started with Kilee Nichols. Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have some fun guests and unexpected guests even, if you can see this on camera. We have our newest puppy, Pepper, joining us on the podcast. Can you say hello? Breathe into the camera. She's got quite the breathe. So she's a French bulldog. We got her a couple months ago. I mentioned her on the podcast, and anyway, she comes to work almost every day now. So she is joining me, and I also have a very special guest. His name is Easton Nichols, and he is an 11-year-old who happens to be my oldest son. So welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Not much to say.
Okay. Well, this is his first podcast, but he, I've talked about it a little bit. He has had a unique school year. And so he's got, virtual school 3 days a week, 2 days in person. And so on these virtual days, it's been great because he can stay home with his younger brothers and the dogs usually. But, sometimes it gets kind of boring, right?
Yeah. Not much to do but read.
Yeah. He's doing schoolwork today, but what's your schedule like today for school?
I've gotten everything done except for a Zoom at 2 p.m., so I've got a lot of time.
Yeah. So how do you spend your days if you're not at work with me? Reading books?
Yeah, reading books, playing with the dogs, going on runs. Pretty much it.
Yeah. So it's been a weird year, but awesome that you can come to work with me and at least watch TV in my office or eat my candy or hang out with me and Dad. We'll probably go to lunch today too. So anyways, he's hanging out today. And so I said, why don't you be on the podcast today? Why don't we talk about how the last year or a couple months have been for you? We talked about silver linings recently on the podcast. And so I was explaining to you what that is. And I thought you might have some good thoughts on that. Okay. So normally when I have an episode, a podcast guest, I thought I asked some similar questions. So we'll start with those. So, Easton, where were you born and where'd you grow up?
I was born in Seattle, in Washington, and then just raised here in Liberty.
Okay. So you were born in Seattle. What's your family like? How would you describe your family?
Fun, very creative, very easy to keep you busy. Easy to keep everybody else very busy with dogs waking up very early in the morning. Rush continually wanting to play with Baker's toys, Baker not liking that.
There's always a lot going on, huh? Mm-hmm. So you're the oldest of 5 boys.
Yeah.
And that has been awesome because Easton is super responsible, super helpful. What's your pet peeve? What drives you crazy the most?
When people do things incorrectly and then say that they did a good job.
Oh, so that's dishonesty. Yeah. You also really don't like it when people do the wrong thing, right? You have
No.
Easton has a really strong moral compass, and so he cannot stand when his younger brothers are misbehaving or doing the wrong thing, which makes you a great example. But it makes it easy to feel like everyone's annoying, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you just started a new school this year, in 2020, really.
Yeah.
I started middle school, but let's go back to before that. How was 2020 for you? What are you going to remember from 2020?
Finding ways to keep my to keep me busy during that time and playing with my younger brothers, playing with the dogs, uh, playing games, going over to young men's, all that.
Activities, yeah. So you didn't have very many activities when there was quarantine, and you had to, school was canceled and you didn't get to go back to school for quite a while. How did you feel about that?
A little bit angry.
Yeah.
I feel like if people are in school, they learn better because they have a teacher there in front of them.
Yeah.
Rather than having somebody assign you work and then you at home are alone to do that. And most kids would just do a little bit of the work and then say that they did that work, and then they really don't learn anything.
Yeah. That's really easy to have happen when you're doing virtual learning, huh? So you're not a huge fan of virtual learning. That's what I'm hearing. But you have great grades, so you've done a really good job being successful at it. But it's just not the same, huh?
No.
So is it frustrating to not have the end of your 5th grade year?
Yes, because at the end of the year we would do a assembly where all the 5th graders would do a tug of war.
Yeah.
It's what every single student looks forward to, because every single 5th grade student gets to go through that.
Yeah.
But this year didn't really happen. So.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. I know I was sad for you because you loved your teacher too, so that was hard. Yeah. But I feel like you made the most of it. How do you think you were able to make the most of it, or just still see the good?
I really just keep my mind on everything else.
Yeah, didn't think about it too much.
No. That's pretty much the way how I kept it together.
You did a good job keeping it together. You were home with your brothers for months, so that was hard, huh? Okay, so then you started middle school this year, which is exciting. How did you feel looking forward to starting middle school? Were you nervous, excited?
A lot of excited, because not only do I get to be with other people, but I also get different teachers for each class.
Yeah.
So because they each have their own individual way of teaching.
Yeah.
So then you get more of an experience of how other teachers teach.
Sorry, Pepper just passed some gas. We all heard it. It's a real life for you. Yeah.
Yep.
This dog is stinky, huh? Well, okay. So you were really looking forward to that. And how has it been? Has it been better than you thought? Worse than you thought? What's your middle school experience been?
In many ways, much better, because people seem much more serious about their schoolwork. But now we're doing this new learning where either you pass or you're still in progress. They say that the reason why they changed this is because most children would just go home and try to get good grades, so then they wouldn't get trouble at home.
Yeah.
So they just decided to change that, which it's still been a really good learning experience. It's just makes me wonder about other kids learning.
Yeah. You have a strong sense of wanting everybody to do the right thing. Oh my gosh, she's squirting again. Okay. All right. I love that you are always trying to do the right thing and be your best. What motivates you to feel that way? What makes you want to choose that every day?
I don't know. It's just that I really don't like it when I see somebody else or I get in trouble. It's just not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Maybe it's your oldest child thing. What have I talked to you about being the oldest?
Usually I am the first to experience what kind of ways to set for that child, what expectations for me to set, what should you guys expect of me, all of that.
Yeah, you're our guinea pig, right? You're the first one. But sometimes you get a lot of responsibilities early.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard to be the first one. I was the oldest, so I know it's hard. But somehow, once you become a parent, it's impossible to do anything except make it hard for the oldest. It's just like the laws of nature. Doesn't matter if you hated it when you were a teenager, you have to do it to your own kids. You can't even help it. So, what do you like about being the oldest? What do you like about being in our family?
Well, what I really like about it is that I get to do so much more than the other kids.
What are things that you enjoy doing, or that have been, keeping you busy, or that are your kind of passions and things that you really make you feel happy and that you love?
Yeah, well, we've been doing a lot of karate, me, Baker, and Knox.
Yeah.
That's really got me spending some of my time practicing all of that and all the material. It's been fun drawing, and during the summer I was drawing some cars that I really thought people should design, and really liked reading the new books, the ones that our babysitter Stephanie introduced to us, the Ranger's Apprentice, the Lost Prince, then just reading all the books that I've already read.
Yeah, you are an avid reader, so I have to brag on that. You've read every Rick Riordan book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably multiple times. How many times have you read the Harry Potter series?
4 to 5 times.
Each of every book, right? Yeah. And then karate, you started last January, and you made a huge accomplishments throughout just 1 year. You've gone from white belt to
Purple belt.
just tested your purple belt. So that means white is where you start, then yellow, then orange, and now purple. So super awesome. You've been able to still have goals and set them. So let's see. What are some of your goals for this year that you've kind of thought about? We've talked about it a little bit.
So a bunch of my goals are to get stronger, be able to run 4 miles in 15 minutes, to start using the punching bag a bunch more,
Yeah.
to start learning a lot more, and to trying to get ahead of to the rest of my class. Like, I've been starting algebra early.
So really, I think it's awesome. You excel at a lot of the things that you do. You have so many different talents. You've been cooking a lot, right? You've been watching chef baking shows lately and making the most of your time watching TV, or like getting inspired to create new recipes. How's that been going?
It's been really fun. So, as you know, during the Christmas time, I like making my no-bake mint cookies. Yeah, that's one thing I really like making with Andes mints, or putting in chocolate chips and Hershey chocolate and caramels, because the caramel just makes it less crumbly. Then I will use mint and other recipes to just give it the Christmas taste,
Yeah,
because I can't really think of any other flavor for Christmas time than mint.
I love it. Yeah. So I think what I'm hearing is you spent your last year, even though you were out of school and you've got all this extra time, you've been spending it learning all kinds of different skills, right? You've been cultivating reading, cooking, karate. You've moved up in belts, even though your other sports have been on hold. I think that's so awesome and so commendable that you've been able to just still make progress and work on things, and still just developing all these talents to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, right?
Yep.
If you have any advice that you could give to people about how to see silver linings or see the bright side of things, what would you say? How do you look at life when you're trying to get through something hard, or when things that are a bummer have happened?
Just focus on what makes your life good and why you want to live it that way. And if there are things that you're not so proud about, try to change those so then you can be proud of every aspect of your life.
That's awesome. I love that advice. Just take the things that you don't like and choose to do something about it. How's it been owning 2 dogs?
Tiring.
Yeah, you're learning lots of responsibility with the dogs, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do some quick questions, and then we'll finish up. What's the most scary, terrifying, awesome thing you've ever done?
Well, 2 years ago, we went down to the lake and we went jumping off that huge cliff into the lake.
Cliff jumping, yeah.
That was probably my favorite and scariest experience I ever went through.
That's awesome. I love that those two things are together, because lots of times when we do something scary, it ends up being something we love the memory of because we're really proud of ourselves. If you could go anywhere in the world on a special trip, where would you go right now?
Down to Utah to do snowboarding, hiking, and if they have it there, skydiving.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Well, that is another thing we didn't mention, right? This last couple of weeks, you've been working on snowboarding. Every time it snowed, Dad brought home a snowboard, and you guys went to the park and you just tried it out. So I love that you're pretty fearless in things that you're willing to try and figure out.
Yep.
Which reminds me of another thing you started doing this last year, motorcycle riding. Dad bought you a little, what is it? A Yamaha?
Yamaha 50cc.
And so you learned to ride that, and then quickly moved up to, you can drive our Honda scooter around the neighborhood too. So driving things, it's a little risky, but it's pretty cool. I think that you're able to safely do that and take those things on. So tell me about your relationship with your brothers. Like I said, you're the oldest of 5. So what is it like with each of your brothers. What do you like about, hanging out with them? How are you their friend? And then what's hard? So start with Kessler. How old is he?
Kessler is 10, turning 11 this year. He's very creative. He likes making up these games with Baker and Rush, although sometimes he'll tend to take control of the game and end up getting in an argument. But he's really fun in trying to find the fun in things on how to make a game and how to build all these forts. We like to build a lot of forts with these pit pillows that we have for the rock wall. He likes going downstairs and practicing karate with me. He's been reading a series called Kane Chronicles that I introduced to him. He's really enjoying those.
Yeah, you guys are really close, even though you guys drive each other crazy. You share a room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then your next brother?
Knox, he is 7 turning 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's really creative. He's funny. He loves playing with Baker and Rush. He loves teaming up with Baker in Lego Wars. He likes helping him build a fort in Lego forts and building all these really cool vehicles with Rush. He likes creating all these really fun games that Baker and Rush always really enjoy. Most of the time, he will.
You guys get along?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
We
get along pretty well. He's very sensitive.
He's very sensitive, and he's the source of most potty humor in our house, right?
Yes.
Most poop jokes come from Knox. But he's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Baker? Baker is almost 6. Yep, he's 5.
5 turning 6.
What's the best part and worst part about being his brother?
The best part about being brothers with Baker is that he's always really fun. He's really energetic. He will like to play with Rush, although he doesn't really like it when Rush touches his stuff.
Yeah.
He'll run around. He really likes his sweets. He likes his remote control cars. He really likes diggers. He really likes dinosaurs. He really likes drawing little books of adventures.
Yeah, he gets excited about lots of things, huh? And then what's the hardest part about being his brother?
He's a pretty big complainer.
Yeah, he's kind of a youngest child, even though he's not the youngest. Yep. Okay, and then Rush is the baby of the family. He's almost 3 in just a couple weeks. And what's the best and worst parts about Rush?
The best part of Rush is that he really shows a lot of enthusiasm when he tries to communicate. He loves creating these games, and when it gets a little bit too hard for him, he'll switch to having Stephanie, or babysitter, being the antagonist, like being a dragon. Yesterday, we were playing a game of me being the dragon who's hoarding the guest room bed.
Oh.
And then I'll scare him. He'll run around saying, he's trying to chase me. And then I'll chase him around. And then once I finally catch him, he's saying, no, Stephanie's the dragon now.
Oh, that's hilarious. He changes the game. He's getting clever.
Yeah.
He does all of this with very little communication skills because he doesn't talk very well yet. He's working on that. Yeah.
And then the most annoying part is that he likes watching the same show over and over and over and over and over again.
He controls the TV. Yeah. He gets stuck on... He loves YouTube, but we don't let him watch it very often.
No.
But he watches the dumbest stuff on YouTube. It's like colored trucks dumping, I don't know.
White trucks going into the red paint, and then they come out. What color is this? It's red.
Yeah, it's 3 hours long of the same thing. Yeah. Or Blaze in the Monster Machine. So he does control all the TVs. But we've made a policy in our house a long time ago that the youngest kid gets to choose the TV show most of the time, and that way we know it's always appropriate. So appropriate but annoying. That's true. So
yeah, and then a show that he learned to be his favorite from Stephanie is The Little Toaster.
Oh, that's a cute show. I haven't seen that since I was a kid. I think it was scary.
It's this little toaster who tries to save these animals that his owner has.
Yeah, there's the hot water bottle, little blanky guy. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are really patient. It's hard to be the oldest and be the oldest of all those boys, especially when all of them are crazy and naughty for some reason. So glad to have you as the oldest example in our family for sure. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Easton. It was really good to hear your perspective and hear your ideas and what's hard and good and the good and the bad. So
Yep.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks to everybody who's been leaving reviews and sharing the podcast. It helps so much. I think we may have to make this a little series, and we'll bring the rest of the boys on the podcast too, and see if we can get their advice on optimism and all those things. So if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and let us know your favorite takeaway, or, if your kids have been in the same boat this year. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening today to With Kilee Nichols. I hope that today you felt empowered to take one more step towards living the best version of you. Tune in next week for another episode, and in the meantime, you can find us elsewhere on the internet. You can find me on Instagram at Kilee Nichols and at Nickel and Suede. You can also find us at nickelandswade.com. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.